Last year, Valve came out with an update changing the way the drop system works. They went ahead and made it so now you had to get 5,000 XP to go ahead and get your drop, and hopefully trying to stop case farmers. Now heading into CS2, they went ahead and refined this. Interestingly enough, people thought this was going to make the absolute price of cases explode because there was going to be less of them to go around. Theoretically, the demand was going to stay the same and there would be less supply, the price would explode. And we didn't actually see that in the long term here. We're starting to see now that there was actually a very similar amount of cases being produced because Valve didn't actually stop too many case farmers. They just made them a little bit more obvious, and now we're finally starting to see the long-term effects of what exactly happened then and what's going to happen in the future here. SkinSwap is today's sponsor, and they're also sponsoring you with a free bonus for signing up with the first link in the description. They're the premier place for CSGO and Rust skins with a massive trading site and a top-of-the-line marketplace, offering you the most competitive rates out there and a massive 40% bonus when you're using that link in the description. Combine that with their top-of-the-line selling feature with many payout options and their trading feature legitimately taking you just about a minute, and there's no reason not to sign up with that first link in the description. Now, talking about the present, it's not looking very good. If we want to talk about the active duty cases to start, most of them are down to historic levels. A lot of them are down significantly more than you would expect from the normal case market, down potentially 25 at bare minimum and 40% at maximum in the past 30 days. Absolutely terrible numbers, but the truth is, it's actually not too uncommon we see this, specifically when an operation rolls around. This is something we usually see. In fact, we don't have any sign of an operation nor brand new content, which I think is actually the main reason why we're starting to see this. People are not unboxing these cases because there's no incentive to go ahead and unbox these cases. The case right now is just not anything desirable. We know there's probably going to be more desirable skins on the horizon, and when we talk about the snakebite and the recoil case specifically, on buff, these cases are starting to approach record level lows that we haven't seen in a significant amount of time. They're starting to approach 1 yen each, which is absolutely insane considering back in March and April, we saw every case over $1 on the Steam market. Now, focusing in on the regular case market, we're not seeing too much better news. A lot of these cases are at best staying flat and at worst going down potentially 10 to 15%. The only one that's excluded from this overall generalization is going to be the clutch case. That's because the clutch case is down about 20% in the past month and it continues to drop. It is not in a very good situation, especially if we want to look at the buff price, which is not too concerning considering we know the massive supply. The clutch case was a little bit propped up just because people thought it was going to be a better investment than it actually was, but it's definitely not great. Overall, looking at the rest of the rare cases, I would honestly expect you to look at the long-term trajectory of a lot of these cases. Obviously, in the short term now, they're dropping down in price, but think about it. Why would they have any reason to go up in price right now? Obviously, these are rare cases and the supply is still decreasing during this time, which makes the fact that they're going down in price an even better opportunity if you want to go ahead and get into these. Obviously, we know these cases long-term are going to succeed, but the fact right now is that there's just no momentum for these cases. No one's unboxing them, relatively speaking. The overall unboxing rate is down, which is the biggest portion, and the best part is it's still going down in price, and we know it's going to be a better investment for the future, which obviously brings up the question, should you be buying these cases right now? And I think it's an overwhelming yes for almost every case out there. Specifically, if we want to talk about the rare cases, I think they're a great buy long-term. We know exactly what they're going to do, and the fact that they're dropping down here in the short term just makes them a more desirable investment for me personally moving forward, knowing that they're at a little bit of a cheaper price point. You're able to get into them, and you're able to get exactly what you're knowing as long as you're willing to wait them out. Specifically talking about the snakebite and the recoil, it's a little bit of a different story. Obviously, these cases are down to almost 14 cents USD for talking cash, which is absolutely insane. With that being said, I do still think it's probably going to be more worthwhile if you're looking at the snakebite rather than the recoil. Now, when we're talking about a case getting removed, there's a lot of things we're going to go into in just a quick second. The biggest thing is both of these cases have absolutely massive supply, so even when it gets removed, although it would probably see a jump up in price, it's not going to continue on an absolutely exponential level of growth. And I think it's very important to realize that if you're investing into these, it's a long-term investment that's going to be benefited by the removal of just a little bit. Now, since we're looking to go ahead and increase the overall unboxing numbers, there's a couple big things we have to look at. First of which is going to be Chinese New Year. Now, obviously, Chinese New Year is not going to have some big, massive impact on the market. It's not going to make everything skyrocket up in price, but I also don't think it's going to be anything negative happening on the market. If we want to look at the past couple, we usually don't see items go down during this period, which is something I think we'll gladly take at this point. Obviously, then we have the Copenhagen Major coming up in less than 2 months, and this is going to be the big one on the timeline. I can't imagine we're going to go 2 months from now until then with no brand new content inside of the game, but anything's possible. Copenhagen Major is something we know there for sure. We're going to get brand new content, and theoretically, it's going to rope a lot of people back into the game, very hopefully, and that's going to increase those overall case unboxing numbers because the interest is going to be back in the game. Now, if you're investing into the snakebite or the recoil case, the one specific thing you're looking for is a brand new case to come into the game. Now, what are the likelihoods we actually see this happen? Well, obviously, if we want to look at any piece of data, we can see that we've gone a significant amount of time with any brand new cases. We've seen the Revolution case at the beginning of 2023, and that was it. Obviously, we saw the Anubis package, but it's dumb, stupid, ugly. It doesn't count. Revolution case is the last actual case that we saw, and therefore we've gone almost a full year at this point. Theoretically, we should have received a case a long time ago, which raises a lot of question about it actually coming into the game. Now, once we actually do see a brand new case and we see the removal of one of these active duty cases, we know probably what's going to happen with it. We're going to see an instant shoot up in price. We can look at the past examples. It's happened every single time because people are going to try to invest into these cases, but they're just a little bit too late unless they're doing it for the long haul. Now, with that being said, it's not going to be the amount of growth you're probably thinking of. There's a massive amount of snakebite, recoil, fracture. All of these cases have a super massive supply out there, so it's definitely going to take some time to develop, but it's a profit potential area if you want to go into it. Now, we talked about if you should buy, but what specifically should you buy? If you're looking for something that's a little bit more risky, a little bit more long-term, and a little bit cheaper, the snakebite has definitely got to be my number one. Snakebite, honestly speaking, is one that I'm considering picking up some myself, just because I don't have a whole massive amount of them, but honestly, I really like the snakebite in its current format. I'm not picking them out just yet, because I do still think they have a chance to get a little bit cheaper, but the snakebite overall is really everything we're looking for in a cheap case that's still in the active duty. I didn't think it would ever be possible for them to come back in this situation, but here the snakebite is, and I think it's got a really prosperous future ahead of it once it gets removed, whenever that finally does happen. Now, if you're looking for a cheaper case that's going to be a little bit more safe, but not too safe, you're not sacrificing the profit, Prisma 2 or Danger Zone are definitely going to be there. Honestly, personally, I would go with the Prisma 2 just because I do still think the Danger Zone is in a good position, but it's got the Horizon. It's a little bit more of an interesting dynamic over there. Prisma 2 has shown that the consumers want it really, really bad. It's shown to dominate in the unboxing numbers. The supply is a little bit lower than the Danger Zone case, but the biggest thing about the Prisma 2 is you have the Prisma 1 as well. People are making the choice between the Prisma 2 and the Prisma 1, and a lot of them are choosing to go Prisma 2, which is why we've seen such massive growth for this case in the past, and I honestly don't see any reason why it would be any different in the future. Prisma 2 has just seemed to pull in a lot of the consumer demand, which is absolutely surprising, but really important for a good case. And finally, we got the Revolver case as the best safe case you could go into at this point. Obviously, it's not fully safe, but the Revolver case has been shown time and time again to be the #1 rebounder case out there. Whenever we see a dip in the market, the Revolver case recovers so quickly, it's absolutely insane. Revolver case right now would probably be my #1 pick, irrelevant of price, just because it's gone down in price a decent amount. I do still think if you're going to go into any case, it might be worthwhile to go into a cheaper one if you don't have a massive portfolio, but if you're diversified a little bit already, Revolver is where it's at. I personally love the Revolver in the current state because it's the only way for you to get a lot of those expensive knives, and the fact that we just saw the AK-47 Blue Gem Stat Track Factory News 661 comes out brings a lot of attention to the Karambit Blue Gem that is worth 1.5 million or theoretically more, and you can only find that in the Revolver case. I think it's a great option if you're looking for something right now and you do have the budget for it. Now, what specifically should you do right now? Honestly, my #1 thing is going to be not selling. I know it's very tempting to go ahead and just exit your positions. You might have made some profit, you might have had some loss, but the truth is you can't sell right now. If you're in CS investing right now, you should know that there's down periods in the market. This is just one of them. I think it's a great time to actually double back down, but that's obviously your decision. Otherwise, I think it's going to be very useful for you to just stay in the market. Look at CS2 and the release of it. How quickly the market just absolutely exploded for everything, and it's very possible that could happen again because it's happened twice already before CS2. It's really good to be in the market even if you're not doing anything super active, but that's all I got. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day.